Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Hope you all have a great day. This is Hazel. Today, we're going to be talking about empowering women spiritually. And I have an amazing guest, Master Tri Dao. Hello, Master Tri Dao. Thank you so much for taking your time and be here with me. Hello, everyone. We are here today with this amazing guest. I'm so happy and honored to have you on my podcast. Thank you so much again for taking your time and be here with me.
Thank you for having me.
I'm most welcome. Today, we are here to talk about empowering women spiritually. So before we get to this, to the topic, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who is Master Tri Dao? Where you from? And tell us a little bit about your story.
So my name is Venerable Tri Dao. For those who can't pronounce my name, Tri Dao, they call me Master T for short. It's catchy amongst young people. I just turned 35. This is my 7th year as a Theravada Buddhist monk. I belong to the school of the elders. I became a monk after my grandmother and best friend passed away. And I chose the path to peace. Had I not chosen this path, I would have probably either wind up dead or in prison. Was on a very suicidal path. Comes now, I'd like to bring all of you, what I have found, the method to achieve peace, long-lasting peace, actually, and so that you can make sense of your life in this life that we share together on this one very little planet. And so my hope is to inspire all of you by and through my own transformation and change. And my encouragement for you all to approach Buddhism with a sense of curiosity and to experiment it to see if it's going to work out for you.
Yeah, that's why we are here. We want to learn from you. So I have, out of curiosity, I have one question. Is there any special school you have to join before you will be a monk?
So typically you want to choose a monastery. If you're lucky, there's one locally. I so happens to choose the monastery near where I live, and it's the Theravada school of Buddhism. And after 5 years of apprenticeship, a monk can go off on his own. He can choose another monastery. He can be a traveling monk. He can be a residential monk. And I am a traveling monk now with so many projects to engage in order to reduce teen suicide and increase student resiliency. However, it depends on the teacher that you have. I, was under the great care and counsel of very strict teachers. So, of course, they're going to cultivate a good monk, well-disciplined, straight on the path. So it varies from region to region where you're at. In Southeast Asia, you can actually go to college and university to study Buddhist studies. You can get a master's, PhD in Buddhist studies.
Wow.
But in the monastic training, sometimes the monastery will send you off to go to formal school. They will train you formally inside. I mean, you study a lot. A monk has to study a lot. And so it just depends on where you are with the monastery that's in your region and area and whatever program that they have going on there.
Okay, amazing. So interesting. So using your knowledge and Buddhist methodology, what is your explanation for getting connected with our spirituality? What is your explanation, your definition for this?
Spirituality is very simple to define and understand. All it means is knowing yourself. People get themselves in all sorts of trouble and make their life complicated by making, undesirable choices, unhealthy choices, because they don't understand who they are. Spirituality means knowing who you are, where you came from, where you are today, and where you want to go. One must ask oneself very honestly about that. Where do I want to go? And how am I going to get there intelligently and wisely without hurting myself or other people? We humans tend to run away from our problems, our deep-rooted problems. So therefore, we continue to chase after exterior things outside of us in hope that that would bring long-lasting happiness, stability, and security. when in fact it doesn't. And I invite everyone to look back on your life. Just look back on other people's lives that you have seen. How well did that work out for them? The continuous running away from deep-rooted problems since we were born, with the people that we were with, the family that we had. Sometimes, life chooses a course for us, and whether we make sense out of the lessons in life is up to us. We have a lot of choices.
That's true. So true. So today we're here to talk about empowering women spiritually. So what is your, let's say, explanation for this? Empowering women, why it is important to empower women spiritually?
I think historically, women have been seen in a very different light. They have been oppressed, then suppressed by society, by men, and thus it leads to depression. Oppressed, suppressed, and then depressed. When I see women and when I see men, all I see is humans, but we have to label men and women, based on the anatomy, based on what society has, the views of society, the functions, and how people carry themselves, how they behave, how they think, the reproductive aspect of it. But I see humans. When I see you, Miss Amin, I see a human, a beautiful human, and all of us have the capacity to be beautiful inside and out and outside in. And I feel that because Buddhism doesn't discriminate, doesn't take sides, which human you are, male or female, and it's very non-toxic philosophy and very accepting of humans across the globe. No matter where you are, where you've been, the mistakes you've made, we will accept you for who you are, and you can practice this way to achieve peace. And personally, those who are underrepresented, those who have been marginalized, have always held a special place in my heart, because who wants to feel that way? Who wants to be on that other side of the spectrum, to be oppressed, to be suppressed, to be hated, to be marginalized, to not have equal pay or benefits? So, I would put myself in women's shoes, and how would that make me feel deep down inside? So, and I've studied a lot in college in regards to each population, the diversity, the diversification of populations, sociology, gender studies. So, I would really sit there and really reflect. I don't just read out of the book and say, yeah, I'm done with this class, let me get an A. I go home and I really think about, wow, I hope one day I get to make a difference. And who wants to be pointed a finger at and said, yeah, your kind, your people, your type, and so on, because they don't really know what they're talking about. So I'm hoping to bring a voice to people who don't have a voice, or that their voice is not loud enough, or that their voice is not heard. And particularly today, I'd like to address how to empower women to do that, to live a happy, healthy life, the life that everyone deserves, which is happiness, the pursuit of happiness.
Interesting. So this is so interesting. How can spirituality how can we use it to actually grow as human beings? How can we use it to connect more with ourselves, and grow as human beings? Especially we as women, just like you mentioned. How can we use this to grow?
Part of this spiritual path, particularly Buddhism, right? One of the principles is to stop. Stopping is quite easy, actually. You don't need to realize the word stop winding up in the ER or in jail. That's those are two things that will really definitely stop you. So when you go too hard in life, and all of a sudden your body tells you, listen, dude, you need to take a break. So, you go in there, you get some IV fluids, and you get to rethink about life a little bit. Like, oh, wow, how did I get here? This is not good. That is the extreme. And when you start doing foolish things, again, you go to jail, and it will typically wake a person up. Oh, wow, I've been making some foolish choices.
Mm.
This particular spiritual path, number one, sitting and meditating is the art of stopping.
I
It's
would
the
just get
art.
to this. I would exactly get to this. What are your methods, Buddha's method, that you recommend for us as women, so that we can do it and grow more spiritually, and we can grow as human beings?
So typically, after hearing a person's story, a woman's story, right, a human story, I will ask them questions to help them think and reflect about marriages, about breakups, about an abortion, about a loss of a loved one.
Mm.
Typically, it has a lot to do with losses or foolish choices that one has made in one's life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will start tracing back. Well, let's rewind. Tell me about your family. Tell me about where you've been growing up. How was your childhood? How was mom to you? How was dad to you? What happened? Any existence of trauma, addiction, abuse growing up. So in Buddhism, after we have stopped and we have identified a problem, again, whether it is relationships, breakups, or so on and so on, we want to trace the links of influence. What propelled a person to be where they're at today by tracing backwards. So it's also about looking at facing the past one last time, or particularly with me. We call this Buddhist psychotherapy. It's no different than your typical modern day contemporary psychotherapy now, which incorporates psychology. We just use methods of the Buddha to help you trace backwards. Again, it's called links of influence, the practice of dependent origination. And by moving backwards, a person start to gather information about their past, about their parents, looking at it again in details, looking at it again through the eyes of a detective, perhaps to say. And when you have enough information to be secure in the knowledge of where you have been, thus leading to where you are today, you can move on forward more confident, believing in yourself. And it's the start of cultivating self-esteem, self-value, self-concept, enough ammunition for you to step towards the howling wind courageously, to deal with and to make decisions wisely in the future. Mm-hmm. For women who rely on men to make decisions, well, why couldn't you make decisions yourself? Right? You stand really strong and tall. You have the ability to think just like men do. What's keeping you from doing that, from leading the family that you want, from living the life that you want? I believe that women have so much intelligence and wisdom and patience and tolerance that some men don't have, actually. My dad asserts that behind every great man looms in the shadow of a woman. That means she's behind him, encouraging him, believing in him, pushing him, because we all have self-doubts. And it was by and through the woman that is in a man's life to give him the necessary push necessary to be the leader that he is. These are just a few examples that we have seen in life. And so, helping you guys tracing the links of influence, helping people see the capacity, your capacity as women to proliferate, to be the phoenix in this life, helps you change the view that you have of yourself and the doubtfulness that you have within. I've seen it. I've seen great women become great. I've seen women become great. I've seen women become politicians, become lawyers, become doctors, become great moms, great aunts, great grandmothers. I've seen it. So you have to see the examples in our society, how that will propel you forward, to be the light in the world. the hope in the world.
Mm.
Mhm.
Amazing. So using these methodology, actually yours, as a part of it, and as I see in your videos, in your contents, which is great. That's why I reached out to you and I said, okay, let's have a podcast together. I see a lot of your videos that you're meditating. So how can we, I hope we can have a special one about meditation, and we will have, but how can we use meditation to actually get connected with ourselves more?
Right.
Use it to
So,
like overcome, let's say, trauma and all of the waves that comes to our brain.
yes. So tying it all together from stopping to tracing the links of influence, we have information about ourselves, we have found out our weaknesses, and now we know about our strengths, and now we focus on how to cultivate those strengths, learning the art of letting go. There's a lot of methods, there's a lot of techniques. Okay. Once you realize where you've been, now, indeed, for some of us, there will be guilt, there will be shame. Very difficult in letting go of guilt and shame. So we use meditation to help you let go of negative acquired emotions, let go of negative acquired bad habits, um, accumulated negative emotions and accumulated negative bad habits. And slowly you rewrite your brain, right? Neuroplasticity, you start to change the narrative because you have been living this story in your life for so long. But it takes time for this to unfold and to take effect on the meditative journey. Then we introduce to you principles in Buddhism, the threefold training. The first one being the gift of safety, which is before we meditate, we need to look at the details of where we're at right now. And if there's drama in our lives, that has to be addressed. We have to cut back on a lot of things to clear a way for the spiritual path. A lot of us have a big social life, a social circle. A lot of us have friends and we call and we tell them about our days. We tell them about our relationships with other people and so on. I mean, how many of that is conducive to the spiritual path? How many of that is how many of that is wasting our time here and is affecting the spiritual growth and development? And so looking at the details of your life and what could be costing you a lot of time and energy and effort in this, my program is rapid realization program. I want to help people quite fairly. We want to get on this track, stay on track for a short time so that we see results quite fairly quickly. So anything that is of foolishness got to go. That's drama. That's that baby mama drama we have here in the US, for example. And the many things of in a person's life that is hindering their progress. So the gift of safety is we got to look if we're cheating, if we're lying, if we're stealing, if we're touching intoxicating substance, if we are engaging in sexual misconduct. If these things are going on in a person's life, how could you sit and meditate in silence? Because one, the police is probably after you. Number two, other people are after you. You've probably created enemies. So the mind does not feel safe. The mind is not convinced that, there's issues looming over your head. So the first one is Sila, which is the gift of safety. Once you see all of this and you take the precept, you realize, all right, something's got to give for me to move forward. Right. After that is resolved, we move into meditation. This is where once all of the cords have been cut in one's life and the drama in one's life, you can now focus on bringing the mind a little bit more still, a little bit more still, a little bit more calmer. When the mind is still, you can achieve clarity.
True. That's so true.
It's like I bring you to the lake, but the lake is turbulent. The water is turbulent. Perhaps a boat goes by and you cannot see the bottom of the lake. Can't see anything. It's really muggy and
Mm.
full of waves and so on. But if the water is still, you're able to see right through it. You can see every single pebble that has dropped from the tree.
That's such an amazing example. True.
So, you know, the practice of meditation aims to do that. It's called samatha, which we use a one-pointed concentration technique to bring the mind under control by using the breath, the one thing that is built in you right there and then. And your body is the evidence. You know, it is your tool, and it's also, it can yield the evidence that you need to see results. And after the mind has been brought under control, is well attended to, is well disciplined, it will in fact yield great happiness. Again, happiness is defined, and peace is defined as free from disturbing emotions. Shame, guilt, resentment, and anger from the past, the things that we hang on to, can really lead to disturbing emotions when we sleep, when we wake up, how we look at our day, how we look at other people in our day, how we interact with one another. And so the different type of meditations, the one-pointed concentration technique, then there's loving kindness meditation, right? There's meditation on the 9 qualities of the Buddha. There is meditation on the 32 parts of the body, and then there's death meditation. So there are a variety of meditation techniques.
Of course, we are going to have a special one or more special podcast about that, so we can learn from you. And I'm so excited for that. But before, sorry for interrupting. Before going to people's comment, what other methods or you recommend, like beside meditation? What other things you recommend or you want to add to this topic?
Well, these are the basic principles of it. And then slowly you move into insight meditation, vipassana, to help you see the true nature of reality of life. And it will be your new lens to see life after vipassana or during vipassana. You will see the 3 marks of existence in everyday life, how life is impermanent, not everything lasts forever, not your boyfriend, not your husband, not your iPhone, not your car, not your house, how things are subject to change. It's not always satisfying to have this car. It's not always satisfying being with my partner, all the way down to sex. Sex is not always satisfying. It's subject to change. Okay, dukkha, suffering. And number 3, rarely are things under our control. Rarely is your wife under your control. Rarely is your husband under your control. Rarely is your car under your control. Sometimes
we can't really control how other people react and behave. Like we the only thing that we can control is ourselves, right? We can't control others.
Correct. So, but we have this illusion that we can actually control a lot of factors in our lives, but you can only go so much and for so long until one day the car breaks down. I mean, just look at again, the evidence lies in the body. Look at your body. When people say this is my body, well, really, is it really yours? Yeah, it is my body. So when someone asserts that this is their body, it means that they have control and jurisdiction over it. Well, what happened? Today is the day of the podcast, and your body gets sick, and you try to will yourself, hey, I need you to not get sick today because I have a podcast to do. I have a job interview. I have a person to meet. Can you not get sick? Can you not have the flu? Can you not have COVID right now? Your body is not going to listen to your mind. You cannot will yourself to just instantly get better. So therefore, that's right. It is not your body. It seems like it has a mind on its own.
Wow. I thought I from some perspective, like we can, but somehow we don't. Like we can't do this. At some point, we can't do that even.
Yes. So vipassana meditation is really awesome. Once you see life clear and the true nature of reality of things in life, you're not easily fooled by anyone or anything. And that's bliss to me.
But that's a totally different level.
Oh yes.
Wow.
Oh
I really want to learn more about that.
yes. But that's all I wanted to add, because this is just the basic introductory talk on the start of the spiritual growth and path.
Yes, yes, true. So let's go to some comments of people on our posts and when we talked about the podcast. One lady said how to use spirituality to disconnect from a negative body image mentality.
Mm. Negative body image mentality. Yeah, we humans, notice I said humans and not just women, is that we are very concerned with our self-image and self-performance. Just look back, do I look good? Do I look good enough? How am I going to look in public? How am I going to present myself, project myself? And after any performance or before a performance, we really have anxiety. Oh my goodness, I don't know what to say. And then after you said it, oh, did I say the right thing? We have all these self-doubts and the performance issue. Again, you are who you are. You bring to the world a uniqueness of you and your image and the way how you carry yourself and the way how you talk, the way how you think, the way how you feel, the way how you behave. And the world, will see you, and the world will accept you in the many ways that it does, the way how it is. I mean, I don't sit there and think about my self-image. I mean, I'm just this guy in monk robes with his arms sticking out, walking into Walmart with a bald head. I mean, a lot of people look at me and they're like, "Oh my goodness, who is he?" Some people call me Avatar. Some people come up and they say, "Sir, what kind of party are you going to?" you know. And pretty soon you get over it. Pretty soon you realize, I know me. I know where I've been. I'm blessed with all of the great features and qualities of a woman. I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful inside out, outside in. There's people that are very beautiful on the outside, but my goodness, are they toxic? All right.
Mm.
And then there's people who are not so good looking, but yet the most beautiful human you have ever met on the face of this planet.
And that's why by passing some time after get to know them really, you will love them because you see how beautiful they are inside.
Right. So in Buddhism, when you cultivate a good, loving, compassionate, caring heart for the world, people will see right through you. It doesn't matter what kind of skin you have. It doesn't matter what kind of color you are. Black, white, blue, purple, Asian, Puerto Rican, Chinese. It doesn't matter who you are. They will see right through you. Right. One must ask, when I reflected, and I'm like, I'm just this junior monk. How did I inspire so many around the world? Well, because they see right through me. They can see that I had a sincere, compassionate understanding and a sincere, loving kindness for everyone. That I don't discriminate. I don't hate. I don't care where you came from. I just worry about your suffering and how I'm going to lead you to the path to peace. And again, in order, when we worry too much about ourselves, when we are a little bit too self-centered, that's where we cause suffering to ourselves, And when we think about other people, again, happiness, confidence, and self-image, again, will not be, that self-image thing won't be so important anymore.
And there's one more lady just asked a question that's related to this one. That's why I want to ask this one: how to truly let go of fear and worry and be at peace almost all the time. But I don't think we can be at the peace all the time, but we can actually, this is my opinion, like we can't be always happy. We are not running after to be always happy and always at peace. We can't do this because we are in this world full of distractions, full of war and a lot of negativity. We can't be at that, but we actually can face that, and we can actually deal with that and be at the present moment, right? So what is what's your answer for this lady who said how to truly let go of fear and worry?
Fear and worry was programmed in us to ensure our survival. You had to worry so that you can anticipate what's going to happen next and how you prepare for what's about to happen. A hurricane, paying the bills, taking care of your kids, your health insurance, so on. And fear is also there, to make sure that you have some wise fear. Just walking around without not looking left or right, crossing the street without fear that you're going to get hit is not a good thing. You would not last very long. So understanding this, understanding fear, understanding worries gives you wisdom, gives you insight that if we knew that it is our nature to worry a lot and to be afraid of things, well, let's sit and let's challenge these thoughts. How real are they? We suffer more in imagination than actual real danger. Okay? We think, oh, I'm going to step out and trip and fall and die. How many times have you stepped outside your house and you actually tripped, fell, and not die? Okay. So again, we play out all sorts of scenarios in our heads. This little movie that plays before we go out and do things, before we put on our makeup, before we put on our shoes, these high heels. Oh my goodness, I might trip. I might make a fool of myself. Okay. But the chances of that very, very low. So we help you to stay in the present moment by meditating, by, again, bringing that mind, the monkey mind, under control. Just sit with it and challenge these thoughts and see how unrealistic they are. And the chance and probability of it happening is very slim. And that it is keeping you from doing the things that you need to do. If you're fear-based all the time, you're missing out on life.
That's true.
Then if you go to death meditation, you realize, oh my goodness, I don't have a lot of time. I'm sitting here blowing things out of proportion, jumping to conclusions without evidence.
Exactly.
I'm wasting my life literally every day. And it all adds up, hours and hours and hours. And that's time you don't have to get. You cannot buy time. You cannot ever get the time that has already passed away. So therefore, again, the different types of meditation helps you understand this quickly so that you can move on.
That's so interesting. People are usually like have the fear of failure, have the worry a lot about, just like you said, they jump to the conclusion, they overthink the conclusion. So they think so much about it. While I always say you can never know what is going on around, like after, behind closed doors, until you open the door and you go through it. You can never overthink. Like even if you overthink it like for years, you have a fear. What will happen if I go through this door? What if I fail? What if that happens? But you can never know. Maybe that turns out way easier than you imagine. Turns out way better than you imagine. So the best way to actually do it is to go through it. There's one more question that was really like, for me, is important to ask this one: how to support rape victims from coming out of trauma?
How to support rape victims
From coming out of the trauma.
How to support them coming out of the trauma.
Yeah.
This the rape questions I've had previously before. And a lot of people don't want to accept the Buddhist standpoint on being a rape victim. So this is a little bit difficult to swallow subject. And again, I mean no offense to victims out there in the world. Again, it is my job to deeply understand your story, your journey, and to help you and to bring comfort to you, not to condemn you, not to tell you that you did something wrong or so on. And again, at the start of my TikTok endeavor, a lot of people asked us, and when I answered it, I had a lot of backfire. But again, I'm just reading it out of the book. You have to separate the message from the messenger. You get what I'm saying? Everything I'm telling you straight out of the textbooks that was presented to me and was from the words of the Buddha himself. So again, we suffer. My answer is we suffer in this lifetime as a direct result of our karma that we may did in this lifetime or previous lifetimes that we may not know about. Okay. May not have direct knowledge about. So then it leads to us being a victim of a lot of things. Mental abuse, physical abuse, psychological abuse, and then sexual abuse. There is a likely chance in your previous life you may have raped someone, and therefore in this lifetime karma chooses its own time to ripen, and it so happens to choose you in this particular time. Now again, that is the mechanics and law of cause and effect. Knowing that, we realize, wow, I really definitely need to think about how to give more and take less in this lifetime to improve my karmic debts, to see if I can help craft my future, craft my karma that is about to come. We're all subject to old age, death, disease, decay, and birth, old age, death, disease, decay, and subsequent, being dead. And so therefore, what's waiting in store for us? We have a lot waiting in store for us. We have cancer waiting in store for us. We have a lot of disease that we could contract down the road. We don't know when karma is going to strike again. Having compassion for yourself, accepting this fact, instead of having the mentality of why me, why now, why me, why now, how did it happen, why did it happen, how did it's a very vicious cycle of depression, recycling the past over and over again. Granted, some of these rape scenarios are very difficult to hear, cases very difficult to work, especially if the perpetrator was not prosecuted. There's lack of DNA evidence, lack of prosecuting evidence. So it's not fair. I recognize that. I've worked in the courtroom for 15 years. I know that. And again, loving kindness meditation helps us understand to have compassion for ourselves and for our perpetrators, to make sense in this lifetime. They probably too were raped. So that's all now they're doing it to other people. Again, compassion arises out of deep understanding. And part of deep understanding is to study our trauma, to study what is the victimization, study being a victim, study the perpetrator, studying the crime. And it takes time. It's not easy. Everything that I'm telling you all here, it's easy for us to get angry and to want to get back at the other person. That's the easiest and fastest thing any human can do and want to do and will do. But what I'm asking you here is to slow down a little bit. How can we approach this in a more compassionate sense? Because evil met with evil is not going to be peaceful.
True.
All right. And so again, you have to meet love with hatred. Only love can conquer hatred, not hatred and an eye for an eye. I'm telling you, listen, if you try it, you will see the karma that's going to unfold. You have law enforcement, you have police out there that will get you. And even if you successfully shoot them with a bow and arrow, now you have to sleep with one eye open for the rest of your life, because you think if you don't kill them, you think they're going to leave you alone. Right? It's this vicious cycle of birth and death of, I hate him, I want to get back. I hate him, I got to get back. Hopefully he dies. I hope he gets hit by a car. It's a vicious cycle of no peace.
True. That's why we sometimes, when we have something and where someone did something, like I always say, forgiveness. That's why it's very important to forgive ourselves and sometimes even others who did the worst thing, because you need peace inside you to move forward, and let these kind of hate and throw it away. How about to move forward? It's not about them. It's not about that they are good. It's not about that they didn't do anything to you. It's about that you want to move forward and you want to have love inside you. We don't need hate. We need love, right? So we need to have a space for love. We need to clear it, right? If we feel ourselves with hate, so how can we replace it with love? How can we have love, right? So at this time, we need to just put it aside and move forward. There's one more question. I don't know if there's one person, um, Robin asked it, how to be attracted by others, things that love, searching a girl or woman to be with you. The ideal, this idea destroy me every day because I can't go realize my dreams.
Mm. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have that. And a lot of that represents for a lot of people who have this desire to be loved, to be accepted, to be wanted. We humans, we need that, don't we? We want to love and to be loved. Want to love and be loved. The easiest way to attract and manifest is by and through your own change. Now let's look at the opposite of that. Why didn't you attract people? And why are you not desirable in people's eyes? Well, somewhere down the line, your body, speech, and mind, and body doesn't mean body image or the way how you look, Victoria's Secret model or anything. Body means action, the way how you think, right? The way how you speak, and the way how you carry yourself, the actions that you've taken in your life. Was it for the benefits of other people? Did you think of other people first before yourself? Did you put others first before oneself? You got to ask yourself that. A loving, kind, caring woman, but however, assertive, confident, and assertive woman certainly will attract men out there, partners out there in the world. The spiritual journey that we're talking about here today helps individual realize their strengths and their weaknesses and how we can work with that quite fairly quickly. I recognize women, they want to have kids before 33, 34, anything after that becomes a little dangerous, becomes of clinical concern in the OBGYN department for birth defects and so on. So women have a short window of time, again, to want to find the right person. And how do I find the right person? How do they find me? And so on. Again, you follow the methods of the Buddha and you will see how it will unfold naturally for you without trying so hard. The second noble truth in Buddhism is we suffer as a direct result of excessive desire. I got to be loved. I got to have a husband. I got to have a man. I got to have a kid before I'm 30 something. And how much peace that will cost you every single day, waking up agitated, waking up and not good to yourself and to other people. But if you just focus on you, right, and you follow these methods and techniques, you will walk into a room and light up the whole room, and the men that are in there, the humans that are in there, are going to be like, oh my God, what is it about her that lights up this whole entire room?
That's so true. Yes.
And so therefore there's going to be something about you that they want to know. There's going to be something about you that they have to know. So they'll buy you a drink. They'll come up and they're like, hi, my name is George. Nice to meet you. You strike me as a very interesting woman, and I'm wondering if it's okay to get to know you. And so, you become this very enlightened, bright light in the room, like Christmas morning, pretty much. But however, the total opposite can happen if you don't change, if you don't look at what's going on here with our life and why it's not working out. You could in turn be the funeral home that is knocking on their door, coming in and bringing this energy of self-perpetuating, self-centeredness, the narcissism. It's all about me, me, my, and I. That right there is not going to do you any good in the world. And people can see right through you. No matter how much makeup you got on, how much mascara, or even just wearing a mask, people can see right through your intention, your volition. So, and hidden agendas. Everyone has hidden agendas, male or female. But if your intention is good and you always have this radiating concern, loving kindness heart, again, you will attract the right one. All right. Everyone's looking for love, but not at the right time. So hopefully take these into consideration.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
I just wanted to add
Yeah.
A lot of complications between man and woman.
Mm.
Why is he a jerk? And he calls me the B word, and so on and so on. Listen, to all the women out there, if some say you can't live with them, you can't live without them, right? You got all these sayings out there about men and women, or how to decentralize men. I got that question too. How to decentralize men? The opposite sex or same sex, they're great, and it's very satisfying. It's very satisfying being with them,
Mm.
in their presence, to feel safe, to be loved and loved, and the satisfaction of sex and orgasm. Now, yeah, humans have these sides to them where they can be unkind, and they can be a jerk to you, and they can be controlling, and they can be a narcissist, or for example, or anything in the ICD-10, psychological disorders. You got to study them, right? If you say, I can't be with them, I can't be without them, then study them. Study humans. That's psychology. That will serve you very, very well as a woman, as any human, because you need them to survive. We need humans to survive. Just look around us. If we didn't have people that worked at Publix, worked at Walmart, worked at all these places that bring us the food, the goods, the services, and so on. So anything that troubles you, study it effectively. Then you have insight about humans, and you know how to navigate this relationship, whether it's going to go towards the toxic way, the better way, the good way, the bad way. You will know it. Stepping into something that you don't know about, and school doesn't teach us how to love and how to keep the love that you found, you would find yourself in trouble. Okay. So I'm ready for your next question.
Yes, there's one very interesting question. This lady says, could you ever talk about the types of foods that are best in regards to spirituality? Is there an optimal spiritual diet, or does it not matter? Thank you.
Yeah,
This is
thank
a
you for
very good,
asking.
this is a very good question.
Yeah, it is. And diet is actually a very important thing in a woman's life.
Mm.
They want to look lean and thin, and they want to keep their shape. Women have that consciousness about self-image, rightfully so, right? Rightfully so. You gotta keep yourself in check, and not to let yourself go with eating a lot of chocolate. That could be detrimental. um, so when you look at holy men, holy women, when you look at the monastic life, we tend to aim for vegetarianism or veganism.
Mm.
Why? Because, like my dad says, my dad's a very academically enlightened man. He's a professor, and he says, "Son, don't eat too much. It makes you stupid." There is something called mindfulness eating. And
Mm.
you look at Asians, how we eat food with chopsticks. We're very mindful because you have to know how to clip the food and put it in your little small rice bowl and eat it and nibble on it. So we're very mindful, and we enjoy every single taste. Now we take so much strokes of eating with the chopsticks that our mind and our body actually think that we're eating more than what we put in it.
Mm.
So therefore, our body is more effective and more efficient versus certain Westerners who take this really big bite of a burger that is the size of two hands put together,
Mm.
and then they fall asleep on the couch, and then you get this big belly, big tummy, and then you don't want to do anything. And
Wow.
that's why we have the obesity rate so much across the world. So
Mm.
therefore, in Buddhism, we emphasize the middle way, not too extreme of something. Again, not sitting there and eating this burger and unhealthy stuff, and not being too lazy. The middle way is to find a diet that is right for you, according to your blood type, according to any allergies. If you ask your doctor to do your lab work and ask your doctor, hey, according to my lab work, what is the best recommendation you have for me as a family doctor right now? And so, some need more seafood, someone needs vitamin C, vitamin D, the food pyramid, for example, from the USDA here in the US. So every country has a governing government. board. Hopefully, the nutrition and health side of it, Department of Health. And if you look at what people are being suggested to eat, again, it's not a one size fit all. Just because I said vegetarianism and veganism does not mean it applies to all of you that's listening. You have to know what's good for you and how you wake up and how you feel. Keeping a journal about what you eat and how you feel afterwards and how you exercise is going to be key on the spiritual path.
Wow, that's so good. That's such a good method, actually. Wow, interesting. So, anything else to add to that question before going to the next question?
Use the best available science we have in regards to diet, food, nutrition. You have nutritionists out there in the US. You have registered dietitians. Those are RDs. And I think that's now becoming a doctorate level program. So they're basically doctor of nutrition. So use, as women out there, keep your body nice, lean, and get on track. If you haven't exercised, go back to exercising. If you want to lose weight, have at it. Use the best available science we have to do it.
Okay. Great. There's one more question. This lady says, I would like to hear what a spiritual conscious man is looking for in a lifelong partner.
A man who is quite enlightened, not like Buddhist enlightenment, but a man who knows what he wants. Again, it's the same principle applies to him too, which is he knows where he's been, he knows how he has been messing up, he knows where he's at, and he knows exactly the woman that he wants to get with, and that woman will support him and be with him and keep him in check spiritually, emotionally, financially, down the road of being happy, successful, and living long together. So therefore, he's going to look for a woman that is intelligent, that is wise, that will give wise counsel, that is the good friend, the good wise friend. Okay? The Kalyanamita is what the Buddha called it. Kalyanamita. And so again, a woman who is wise will carry herself differently, will walk and talk very differently. You will hit certain keynotes in that particular man, that particular male. And it will be just music to his ears because you both are quite spiritually congruent together. Your spiritual dimension is like very on point, on par with each other. Is no different than two lawyers talking to each other, two doctors talking to each other. They've went to the same school, they got the same training, and now they're speaking their language. So on the spiritual path, you're trying to grow, mature, develop, so that it gives you the necessary confidence to go forth out there in the job that you want, in the man that you want to love, that you find. Your friends out there, more good, wise friends, less foolish friends, less foolish men out there in the world.
Great. Something else this lady said. She said how to stop intrusive thoughts. So how can women stop that?
It's the same basic principle that we have been discussing since the beginning of this podcast. The more drama you have in your life, the more intrusive thoughts in your life. The more you run away from what has happened to you, these thoughts will come in, that will torment you. Shining a light on these thoughts. That's what mindfulness meditation is about. It's about closing our eyes and watching these thoughts and see that they have no power over us. If you watch the thoughts without judgment, it's the same thing as you, a pedestrian, watching traffic flying by. How many people drive like idiots on the road? And what are you going to do? Stop every single one of them and ask, excuse me, you're driving like a jerk. I don't understand why you're driving like a jerk. A wise person doesn't do that. A wise person just simply observe and smile and let go and realize, oh, look at that. That's George. He's 80. That's how he drives. Oh, look at Karen. That's how Karens drive when she's going to work at 8 a.m. So we look at these thoughts and we smile and we don't try to stop them and analyze them and put labels on them. intrusive thoughts. We're already labeling the thoughts as intrusive. So
True.
we're already causing suffering to ourselves just with that alone already initially. So
True.
again, and then when you start to meditate, we're rewriting your brain. We're trying to upload your software of your mind to think, to see positivity in life, to see positivity in everything, including the negative things in life. And once your mind has been trained so well and for so long, everything becomes flowers. All you see is flowers. You don't even see thorns anymore. You see
Mm.
rose flowers.
Yes, that's all about how you train your mind. Sometimes when you train yourself, your mind on something, your mind doesn't do it like unconsciously. For example, when we wake up in the morning, it's like, do you need any motivation, any willpower, anything like discipline to actually go and wash your face
Mm.
and your teeth? No, you don't need it, because like it became a habit, right? You trained yourself like this way on this. So when you train yourself, your brain on something unconsciously, like your body knows how to do it better than you,
Yes.
without even any need of discipline, any need of motivation or anything. There's something else. This lady says, finding a balance, how to find a balance between the feminine and masculine part of ourselves, in the sense of um, nurturing others while also making sure that we prioritize pursuing our own goals in life.
Yeah, it's about the middle way. And so following the noble eightfold path, right
Mm.
view, right effort, right speech, right mindfulness, right livelihood, will help you find the middle way of taking care of whoever's in your family or your circle, and also taking care of you. We can only do so much for other people. Then it leads to enabling them. And once they find out that you are enabling them, they just use you. They just use you for whatever resources that you bring to them. And then we have to also centralize back to our mind and body, taking care of ourselves so that we eat well, sleep well, and function well at work. So again, it's a constant. It's not easy, but again, utilizing your intelligence and wisdom that you gain from Buddhism helps you be more psychologically organized, on point, with the middle way in your personal life, with the people that is in your life. And so you know when to give attention to people that you're nurturing and caring for and cooking for. And then at the same time, all right, I need to have my own time to meditate, my own time to go shopping, my own time to reflect on the things that has happened all in one day. So much can happen all in one day. The moment where we are not mindful of this fact is where our days just kind of repeat itself over and over, a vicious cycle. I'm tired, I'm burnt out, I'm done with him. I can't believe he's doing the same thing over and over again. Again, we need to know when to crack the whip, and we need to know when to be the most caring and compassionate. So it's a constant attenuation, a constant adjustment of our personal life, our love life, our family life, and our social life.
That's so good. Thank you so much for sharing all these great advices and methods with people, with me personally, because I learned from you. And I am sure that our audience will learn from you more. Master Tri Dao, thank you so much for taking your time and be here with me and sharing all these great methods with me and our audience. I hope to see you on another podcast. Do you have anything else to add to the podcast? Any final word?
I like to say thank you, Miss Amin, for having me. And your question about how we're going to do this and what we're going to discuss about opened up this portal, opened up the start of this conversation for women, the empowerment of women. It's a necessary conversation
Yes.
in the world, in our society, to help change the image of what society has with the hardworking women that is out there, that is, the battles and the struggles that you women face daily. And people think, that you got it, you got it, but sometimes you don't. And so again, hopefully this raises awareness in support for women, the compassion that women needs, the deep understanding that women needs at work, at home, at school. Okay, both young and seasoned adults out there. It's important, very important, that you take care of your mind, body, soul, spirit, from head to toe. And it's, I'm here for you and for all to help you through the journey, this very short life that we have.
Thank you so much.
So
On behalf
again,
of all the women.
yes, and I look forward to having more deeper conversations and addressing more tailored questions to your needs out there. We have a lot of women out there, and I know that we have a lot of questions, and I'm super excited to hold additional live sessions to have fun with and educating the masses of the public. But you all are doing great. The fact that you're here and you're listening to Miss Amin and myself speaks volume of your presence and your willingness to learn and your curiosity in Buddhism. So keep up the good work and know that you have it all in you, the Buddha nature that is in you, and that you will make it just fine in this world. And we're here for you and for all. Okay. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you so much for being here and watch this podcast till the very end. I hope to see you and Master Tri Dao on other podcasts. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.